Hey, this is Brent Leary, and with me right now is Cedrick Ilo. Cedrick is a grad student at Virginia Tech. He's a proud graduate of HBCU and North Carolina A&T. And he is also part of the internship program that Adobe has going on. So first of all, Cedrick, thank you for joining me. Yeah, he's sporting it. Thanks for joining me, man.
Oh, glad to be here.
All right, so before we start talking about some of the things that you are doing with Adobe and Alexa, and of course I want to get into that, but before we do, give me a little of your personal background.
Okay. Well, I came from a small school in Tarboro, North Carolina, where I actually found a love for computer science, doing macromedia. I played football at the time. So you have a Rams hat on. I played football with Todd Gurley, which is a franchise player. I know you probably ask me more about that later on. But, yeah, so I decided to do computer science because my brother was doing computer engineering, and I really didn't want to be in his footsteps. I wanted to do my own path. So it took me to North Carolina A&T, where I basically wanted to increase my understanding of computer science and, like, actually evolve and, like, how I can actually use this and find my focus, because I didn't have my focus at the time of what I exactly wanted to do with it. And that landed me at Adobe through this GEM program, GEM Fellowship, basically who sponsor minorities to get their PhDs and their master's degrees. So now I'm at Virginia Tech, and my focus is augmented reality and then human-computer interactions with that as well.
Wow, yes. First of all, that's great. I love hearing that story. I love that you're so entrenched with technology. I also love that you're entrenched with Todd Gurley. We'll talk about that a little later. So tell me a little bit more about the internship at Adobe and what you've been doing as part of that internship.
Okay, well, I've been there for 2 past summers. The first summer dealing with the PDF Audible that we're going to be discussing about later. The internship program is really awesome, honestly. I get to come to work dressed how I want to dress, which, I'm very highly fashionable. And I'm really glad they're just accepting people there. They allow you to be yourself. The community there, you can just grow and learn. And it's just, when you have questions, they don't treat it as like, oh, this guy's annoying, I need to do stuff. They treat it as like, okay, well, we know that you're growing, you're maturing, so let's see if we can help you understand more. Like, they're willing to devote some time, block out time from their busy schedule just to help you. And it's really enriching and it's really empowering.
So tell me about PDF Audible. Was that your idea? Did you kind of raise that one up?
Oh, no. That wasn't, PDF Audible wasn't my idea, but it's really a great idea, honestly. That was all Russ' idea, my manager, which was kind of funny because, like, his manager, I was supposed to be working for his manager, Pat Weebler, but then Pat Weebler was working on this new project, this baby project, and kind of like, he really didn't, had the funds for it, so they kind of like put me over to another department up under Russ. And that's when Russ said, hey, I have this extra money and I have this idea. Let's see if you want to do it. And it was full stack development for the Alexa skill. And I didn't really have prior knowledge of it coming to. I just knew JavaScript. And I was like, hey, man, let's do it. It's actually, it's helpful to other people. Like, the main goal of it was to help people who has accessibility problems, as like people who don't have problems like that, I mean, of course they can use it too as well. But our main goal is to help people who have like accessibility problems.
So had you already had a little knowledge, or were you already using Echoes and Alexa devices before he even came to you?
Oh, no, man. I didn't. No, man. I don't have any smart devices. I'm a broke college student. I was just like, hey, this is a cool device. Let me play with it. Anytime I see like technology like this, I always grab my hand on it and start playing with it, tinkering it, because that's what I like to do. I just like technology. That's why I'm focusing on augmented reality right now, because that's definitely the next wave of communication and visualization.
So how difficult was it for you, not really having any experience with it beforehand, to creating a skill and doing all the things that this thing ends up doing? Matter of fact, we should talk about what exactly it does before we get into how you built it or how you helped to build it. So what does PDF Audible actually do?
Okay, well, PDF Audible in and the higher level is basically just reading out any PDF document that you have in your document cloud account. So there's like two phases to it. We also have an application that on your phone, iOS or Android, that you can connect to your account, and then you basically scan it using the scan app and scan the PDF, and it downloads to your account, and then it goes straight to your PDF Audible account, which is connected to with the Amazon Alexa skill. My partner that I worked with, Muncie McGall, she worked on the scan application of it, and I was more so working on the Alexa skill. We both had our hands on too, but I did more of the front end and the back end of like Amazon Poly. It's so much, there's so many different features that we was doing to it, and it was really cool. But like you asked about the prior experience, but before me actually doing that, I didn't have any prior experience. That's why I was saying like earlier that people at Adobe really helps you out, because like all my friends, the undergraduate, was talking about AWS. This is the bee's knees. You got to learn this. Like, okay, cool. You know, it sounds cool. And then when I get to Adobe, it's like, oh yeah, you're using this. And I was like, I mean, I know how to code in JavaScript, but like, far as the structure of using the different services that Amazon provides, my mentor, Eddie Ann, he's the main reason why I understood all of it, because he just basically sat me down and like set up that he drew out the structure of how everything is connected, and we only focus on each individual part before thinking of it holistically, which worked wonders for me and Muncie, and that's how we actually tackled the problem and just, you know, ran off with it, and look where we at now. You know, we're doing interviews with ZDEC, and you know, and it looks hey, I'm happy, honestly.
So so basically you have the scan app. Somebody can scan in a document, and that goes up into the cloud, and they are able to I guess have it some text to speech stuff, so that it turns that document into actually text that Alexa can use to speak back, right? Pretty much.
When you scan a document, it takes the picture and it forms it and it extracts all the text from it, and it feeds those texts to the actual Amazon Lambda service, where depending on the intention that you ask for, it basically reads that text back to you. So the natural language processing is on the Amazon Alexa side. I don't think it's on the scan side, because that's what so that's what Amazon Poly does, and the Lambda skill that we created for it.
Cool. So how long did it take you to create the skill?
The whole summer, my guy. I mean, well, I guess certain parts, because it was working in parts, and it depended on like the milestones that we had. Like, we had to introduce this to not only our regular Jira meetings that we have weekly, but also we had to give it to my manager's boss, who runs everything, and then we had to present it to the VP of engineering and marketing, so we had to have another iteration ready for that. And also at the final end of the summer, we had to use it to show everybody in Adobe where all the interns come together. And so it was a lot of different iterations that we tweaked here and there, but it was like a whole summer project. And at the end, that's when we finally put it in stone. It's like, all right, this is it. We're not touching it anymore. We're packing it up now. And the next people who touch it, you know, hey, it's your job now. It's baby, but it's your job now to take care of it.
So what kind of response did you get when you showed it off for the first time?
Oh man, people loved it. Like, right off the bat, people loved it. Like, there was like, I can talk to it. I mean, it's so interesting. It's kind of like, every time I think of like new technology and how people interact, it's like my mom or my grandma. It's like, what is you? How you do that? So that was kind of how it was. But also made me feel special too as well, because like, since everybody else was doing either something like digital analytics or something like that could be put on a a cardboard trifold poster, our demonstration was more hands-on, so they kind of secluded us and put us in a room, so people had to come in, because when you're speaking to it, it needs to hear your voice alone. I don't think the echo is like, well, probably now it's a lot better than it was before, like 2 summers ago, probably a whole year ago, as far as like the hardware in the device.
Right.
But like we needed to isolate the sound so when people interact with it, they can get the full experience of it. And it's really interesting. And to this day, people was like, "Man, your project is so cool," and stuff like that. I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm just here to do a job." Well, yes, my project is cool though. So
I think it's cool, but I also think it's useful, and I think a lot of people are going to be able to do things that maybe they weren't able to do before, because now they're, like you said, from an accessibility standpoint, there are people who definitely are going to have benefit, but it goes beyond that. I think I'm already thinking about how I could use it, when it becomes available. So that's really cool, man. All right, last thing I got to talk to you about. Going back to the football here. So you played football with my boy Todd Gurley. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. Okay. So this is a very interesting story. Very, very interesting story. So we're a little 2A, 2A school in Tarboro, North Carolina. Basically, it's a small population there, but we all come together for football. And freshman year, I came and I decided I want to play football because, I was built for it, and that's what I wanted to do. And that's where I met him. And honestly, like right out the back, I didn't like the guy, to be honest with you, because like he was an offensive player and I was a defensive player, and like we would always go head to head, like like butting. But I also play offense too. I was blocking for him.
Okay.
Most of his big runs that you see in his highlights in Tarboro, you'll see a number 55 or 50 running for him and blocking and pancaking the guy. And he's running like 30, 50, 60 plus yards. So, honestly, like it was good for like people to see our interactions like that because it showed us like nothing is given. You have to work hard for everything. But the guy is he's a really awesome guy. Apart from like always joking, he's a jokester. Like he would joke on you. And you have to be ready. You have to be ready for that. But he does it all in good spirits. I know it is now. And just seeing him grow and just being like amazing as he is now in the league as a fantasy player to most people's teams and just an overall friend. Like he hasn't changed as much. I know he's still joking for some of the friends to go visit him. Every time I get a chance to go, he always says, "Okay, well, it's just not meant to be right now." But I mean, eventually, I'll probably go check out one of his games, and I get a job and they pay.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong about getting a job and getting paid. So, hey, well, I really appreciate this, man. This has been great, and much success to you in the future. It sounds like it's already off to a great start. Are you still a part of the Adobe plan, or do you have another year to go, or are you kind of on to the next thing now?
Oh, well, technically, I mean, I finished in spring. I'm still doing a lot of talking with Adobe right now. As far as where I land, honestly, long as I'm just doing something that is worthwhile, like the PDF Audible, document cloud, kind of like actually helping individuals and being able to work on something I'm passionate about, I'm really excited and looking forward to doing things like that. I'm not necessarily putting myself in a box where I only want to do one thing. I know in order for me to grow as an individual and as a human being is always put myself in things I don't know. So I'm just allowing life to happen. I'm letting God, just like shoot, like we walk down my path, because there's only one path for me. I can't do everything anybody else is, and I know success comes in a variety of different ways. So I'm just being patient and then just allowing it